Guys, welcome back to another video. I literally wanted to just jump on here real quick and talk about something that's been bothering me for a while. Based on the title, you'll see what it is. I know I needed to make a video and update my YouTube channel, so I was just like, let me make this a content. First and foremost, I want to put a disclaimer. I do believe in abstinence. So before we even talk about, you know, having sex and getting pregnant and then delivering the baby, I want to just put it out there. I'm a spiritual person. I might not practice everything, but I aspire to be like that one day. So before going into all that, if you're watching this and you're also spiritual and you also believe in abstinence, that should be done. And no matter how hard it is, I think it's something that we should try to do. And then you would avoid getting into all these other points that I'll talk about. Now, if you are married, and I do believe that it's only in marriage that you should practice these things, because if you're not married, and of course when you're married or if you're married, negative things or bad things can happen, but it's less likely because normally mature and responsible people go into marriage. Normally, if you're ready for it, you'll go into it. But also immature and people who are not responsible go into marriage, and certain things happen in marriage that shouldn't really happen, and we all know how that ends. If you don't know about like Safari and Erica Mena's story, that's like a immature situation to me, because based on my view or based on what I have heard or seen, I've never spoken to Erica Mena, I've never spoken to Safari, but their life is out there for us to see on the TV shows, and I believe that Safari is acting very immature. When you sign up for certain things, when you sign a paper to say that you want to marry this person, you're gonna have to deal with so many things that you don't really necessarily want to deal with, but because you decided that you'll play the role of a husband or a father, you just have to put up with certain things. So I don't feel like being an immature person will help these kind of situations that I'll talk about. Now, if you're not married and you have a partner, you know, as most percentage of us do, we should wait for marriage to do certain things. And then if you're not waiting, or if you don't believe in waiting, I believe that contraceptives and safe sex should be practiced. Whether or not you're using contraceptives like pills or any other contraceptives other than condom, I honestly believe you should also be using condom. So no matter what contraceptives you're using, I believe the condom should be used as well. Why? Okay, say for instance you're using pills as contraceptives to not get pregnant, or you're using IUDs, you know, the insert or injection or whatever type of contraceptives that you're using aside from condom. Let's say you have sex with someone random, have a like one night stand or something, somebody you don't know, and you have the contraceptives, you're using the contraceptives, so if they work 95% of the time, you won't get pregnant, right? But you don't know this person, and probably they have an STD, or probably they have a virus, or you know, a disease. You're more likely to catch it. You might not, but you're more likely to catch it because you guys went raw. So there's no barrier between you and that person who is exposed, so you're now exposed. And that's where I'm coming at, and that's what I wanted to my point that I wanted to make. Basically, if you're using contraceptives, you should also use condoms, just to protect yourself from any STDs or any disease or viruses that are out there that can be transmitted through sexual intercourse. I always try to convince people to use condoms as well as contraceptives, or just use a condom if you don't want to use contraceptives. I don't, you know, yeah. Yeah. So I just feel like condoms should be used. No, if you guys have a person who do not like to use condoms at all, I don't know what to tell you, because there's no other real way to protect yourself from catching a virus or disease or any infections, sexual transmitted infections, other than using a condom or abstinence. And those are the two ways. So I would say abstain or use a condom as a barrier between you and that person who will get you exposed to their disease and virus. If it's not any of those two things, then sis, like, you don't know who has these things, so you're gonna catch it, right? And you're gonna be at a higher risk for catching it. But think about it, and then when you reason it out, you realize like what I'm saying is probably legit. Alright, we're gonna move on from persons who don't use a condom, don't use contraceptives, are not married, not abstaining, and they're having sex raw and they get pregnant. Hopefully that person don't get AIDS or HIV or any form of other STDs. There's so many out there. We can go and read upon them and educate ourselves. That person is still clean, but that person got pregnant. No, we're going into another taboo topic. If that girl or that woman or that lady or that young lady got pregnant and she's young, and I mean, she doesn't even have to be young, you know, she can be even married and mature. Like, I think Erica Mena is mature and you know, she's responsible enough to like get married and have kids. But mentally, and that's my focus for this video, mentally, if you are not there, like if you decide mentally like I'm not ready for this motherhood or parenting, or I'm not ready for kids, sis, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, abort mission. Do not do it. No, I am of no means like supporting, you know, abortion or whatever, but I've learned so much about mental health in this past 2 years. This past 2 years I've learned so much about mental health. I actually learned about it in China. When I was here in Jamaica, I don't know, I feel like black community and Caribbean and Jamaican, so we narrow it down. The black all over the world too don't really, you know, recognize it or acknowledge it or accept it. Caribbeans worse, and then Jamaicans even worse. Bruh. The women out here, we believe we're strong and we should do it. We're mothers, and there's no way his father's gonna come for his child, because I'm not giving up my child to that man. Like, why not? If the dads want, if they're able, capable, mentally, financially, if they want to raise their child, allow them to raise their child. But no, in Jamaica we're just like, we're the mom or we're the woman, we're strong, we're built like this, we should do it even if we are not capable or mentally there. That's what we believe. And I'll go further into like my personal experience and why I'm affected. But for now, I started to look into mental health and depression and deeper into postpartum specifically. If you're going to do the abortion because you still want to enjoy life, but if you really want a child at the same time, honestly, I think you should continue with the pregnancy, seeing that you do want the child, not just abort it because you want to enjoy life and you're not ready. Having a baby or just being pregnant and carrying it full term is a blessing, and you probably wouldn't be able to do that later on in life. Who knows, you know, we don't know what the future holds. So if you're able to like go through the experience, if you want the child, you should. Reasons that are less important than bringing a child into the world, then you should think about aborting it, because later on in life, when you do want it, or if you want it and you know, some circumstances happen where you're not able to carry the baby, you're gonna regret aborting it. But if it's a case where you never wanted kids, or you don't want kids, or at that moment you don't want kids, and carrying the child is going to affect everything, like there's just gonna be a domino effect, like everything after that is just gonna fall apart. I mean, you don't really know what the future holds, but if at that moment you decide like, I really don't want this, don't do it. Because having that child, or just going through pregnancy alone, not even delivery as yet, having like bringing that child, our bodies as females go through so much. Like studying medicine right now made me understand the hormones that release and secrete in our body. We become different persons, mentally, physically, emotionally. We're totally different persons. We're not the same beings we were before pregnancy, right? We make decisions that we never knew we would make. We start eating things we never knew we would eat. Like we start doing stuff we never thought we would have done. So it's like a whole, if we could have a camera inside our body to see what was going on in there, a whole, like, God, for me, God is so good. He's so good. I don't even understand how he does it, but when you go through it is when you actually know. Before pregnancy, or just seeing a woman out there being pregnant, I never knew, and I always wanted kids. I always wanted that experience of just having the child. But you see, pregnancy, it is no joke. So if you are not mentally ready for it, and it's just mentally, like you don't have to be financially ready, you don't have to be any other ready, just mentally, because even emotionally you'll get there, but mentally it's a struggle. So it's not like, okay, go do an abortion, I'm supporting abortion, but I first and foremost think you should abstain. And you know, if you're not abstaining, practice safe sex. And if you're not practicing safe sex, it's like you get pregnant and you don't want that child, abort mission. Okay, like I'm not taking that back, abort mission, because unwanted children is a thing. It's a thing. When that child comes and you don't want that child, and that child grows up, the fact that your mental state was not there while raising that child will grow up to be someone who they weren't really meant to be, and it's gonna affect another child his age that he's growing up around, and it just starts affecting people around him and stuff. You know, right now I'm not living that, because I've changed along the way, and I'll talk about my personal experience really soon. But I've seen where things could have happened differently, and it really bothers me. It's something I've always wanted to talk about, never really knew how to talk about it. I've prayed about it. I was like, God, how should I go on here and tell these people how I really feel, because it's like unpopular opinion. It's really unpopular. I don't really want to get bashed for what I have to say and all of that. So I was just like, I don't know if I should, but I'm gonna. But so we're at the point where if you abort it, you abort it, but if you don't, you brought it. Let's say you were talked into, like you saw a different side to things, and then you're just like, okay, let me just do this, and you got motivation from friends and family, and you know, at the end of thinking about it, you decided, okay, I'm gonna do this because things are gonna be okay, right? At that point, you're not fine, but eventually things are gonna be okay, right? It's only God that can make things okay in the end. If you pray to him and tell him what's your issue is, what you're going through, how we want to live, you know, what you want to change and stuff, only then you'll be fine. But if you don't seek him and decide like, okay, I'm gonna do this with God, like I can't do it without him, you'll be struggling. During that 9 months, you can grow to just hate that child. Like you just want to just get it out. You want to get it out. Like, I want this thing out of me. Most times you see on social media where it's a loving experience. The mothers, they can't wait to meet their babies, but there's a small percentage of persons who don't feel that way. They don't feel the connection. They don't feel like, oh my god, I can't wait to meet this baby. It's on a whole nother level, this whole postpartum depression, and like everyone that is involved with you, that is supporting you, they should continue even after delivery. And I've realized that sometimes that stops. When you're pregnant, you get a lot of attention, a lot of niceness, a lot of like everything. You get everything most times, but after the baby comes, responsibilities, people run away from it. I mean, it's not necessarily their responsibility, but I do believe in it takes a village, that saying, because the parents alone can't do it. Because even if you are married and you have your husband with you every night and you guys take turns, both of you are tired too, and you probably need your mom, which is the baby's grandmom, or the baby's grandparents. You probably need your sister and brother, which is the baby's aunts and uncles. You probably need a neighbor, a friend, you know, your best friend to come around. It really takes a village. So afterwards, when the baby comes and everyone is just like zoop's gone, or they don't want to take up a responsibility of, okay, let me get the baby so you can just go for a walk, or so you can just go out to the movies just to chill, put your foot up and not really worry about him for a couple of hours. Those things are important. I think those things should be done to relieve the parents. I mean, it kind of sounds, I don't know how it sounds. It sounds like, you know, I didn't do the work to bring the baby in the world, so why should I even bother to think about these things or initiate these things? But at the same time, if it were you, or if it were someone else, or once you're in the position, you're gonna feel that burden, you're gonna feel that weight of all the responsibilities that are needed of you as a mom or a dad, because dads do go through it. Like, you have single dads as well that go through all of this. So as parents, when you become a parent, that's when you feel like, oh my gosh, I really need the help that was said is needed by these people. So it's something that we should think about. It's something we should look into. Mental health is a thing. Depression is a thing. I am just learning this, and when I say just, I mean like 2 or 3 years ago is when I got like exposed to the fact that anxiety is a thing. When people have a panic attack, it's a thing. I never knew these things. I wasn't learning these things here in Jamaica. It's when I went to China I realized like different culture accept these things as a thing. Because I'm just like, get over it. Like, you're fine. What you mean depressed? What you mean stressed? Like, you have so much to give thanks for. What are you talking about? But now is when I realized, like, okay, I'm not fine. I'm really not fine. Like, do I need a therapist? Yes, I need that. I need someone to talk to, someone probably that's professional, or even if they're not professional, like, I just need someone who sees eye to eye with what I'm feeling. What I'm feeling is not normal. What I'm feeling is not, I've never felt like this, so I need someone to enlighten me on what to do, how to go about it, and so forth. It's a thing. With my personal experience, as I said, I was comfortable in pregnancy, and after the delivery, when, you know, certain factors and certain little things happened differently, not the way that I planned it, or not the way that I wanted it, I realized, like, I started to turn away from just being a mom. I started to resent being like, I didn't want this responsibility anymore. I wanted out. I wanted to be my old self. I wanted to go back to the old Ashley. I wanted to do the things that I usually do. So when I realized, like, I couldn't eat or cook to eat because I didn't have the time, when I realized I couldn't shower because I was there alone, it was just me for a long time, couple months, I started feeling low. I started feeling like, what am I take up on myself? What am I really take up on myself? So mentally, emotionally, I just was like, I don't like this. I don't feel like I like this. I don't feel like I love this responsibility that I was given. It might sound ungrateful, but that's just the plain truth. Every time I used to hold the baby and try to hush him if he's crying, I mean, I used to cry too. I was just like, bruh, I'm tired too. So if you want to sleep, sleep. It's not that hard. Close your eyes and sleep. And when he was screaming because he's uncomfortable, which now I realized what was happening. I wasn't eating and I was breastfeeding, so he had really bad tummy pains and he was just like griping and miserable. But at the time I didn't know. At the time I didn't know I need to like get up and make porridge or boil some bananas and get some good food into my system so that I could push out, you know, all of that in my milk and he could be comfortable. He was just sucking pure gas and he was gassy and just not feeling well, and he was just falling down the whole place, and I was also crying. I'll put him in the room, he'll be crying, and I'm outside in the living room also crying because I'm just like, I don't know what to do, and there's no one here to say, Ash, try this or try that or try that, and I'm not in the mood to probably go on. You know, I just had to figure it out on my own, and that happened for a couple months, and then I just like had this resentment. I was just like, this little human being came and take over everything, and I'm just here like providing and just doing everything for them like a king, like I'm a servant. That's how I felt. That's how that mother and son relationship felt. Poor little baby, he don't know what's going on, he don't know like why he's here, he don't know who brought him in this world, but yet still he's feeling like some form of resentment, like this person that's over me or superior to me doesn't want to do this, like they're just leaving me here to cry. Like it's really sad, but that's probably how he felt, and I didn't really know it because I was focusing on how I felt, and I was really focusing much on how I felt at the time, but I couldn't say it to anyone because then they would bash me and say, oh, you're a mom, how could you feel like this, like that's a baby. I don't feel like they would have talked to me how I'd want them to talk to me, and that's how I felt at the time. I didn't know. Then I tried talking to like my aunts or people who I felt like I could talk to, and I got the same response in which I thought I would have gotten, and that just made me like shut down more because I was just like, you see, I knew they wouldn't understand, I knew they wouldn't get it, and I just decided I wasn't ever gonna talk about it. And from that time I felt so much better though after I spoke about it to actual persons close to me. I felt so much better after. I felt like I was able to love after that. I let all that load off, but it still stuck with me, like it still stayed with me. So mentally I was still not fine, mentally I was still bothered because I felt like no one would understand, or no one understands what's going on. And until this day I feel like I still want to talk about it. And even though I come on here and I'm explaining to y'all how I really feel or how I really felt, I do believe that it's an ongoing thing, and I feel like it doesn't end here, and I still need to see like a therapist about these things, maybe just find professional help or something, because it's a real issue, it's real serious, and I need to make myself better. I need to be a better individual. I need to be better for myself first before I can pour out to my son. I don't think I'm able to pour out love and positivity to him if I'm not feeling like that within me. And that's why I said earlier that it's a problem I think I need to pray to God about first and foremost, and try and get his help where that is concerned, or professional help if I feel like that will work. But it's a real issue, guys, and after watching this video I would love if you guys sympathize more with persons who are going through parenting alone. You're doing it, either the single moms or single dads, and like just give a hand, whether it be carry their bags, or when you're on the bus and you see like a mom and a newborn baby, like just try that can change their whole life. If you're an aunt for a baby that's young, you can offer to stay with that baby for a day or a couple hours. All of that goes a long way. Initially I never got that, and I was just like resenting everyone around me because I didn't want to say it, because I felt like it's something that should be done, and because it wasn't done I was just like, oh, like I don't want to do this. But that's my story, and I really wanted to just get that off my chest. It's been a long time since I wanted to talk about these things, so now that I spoke about it, I hope I can help someone who is going through it and feel like they're alone. I mean, even if you feel alone, or even if you might be alone, as I was, like there's physically no one around you, try to find someone and talk to, because as I said, I spoke to like persons who I thought would have helped, and even though I felt worse like talking to them because of their action, I still felt better getting it off my chest. I felt so much better. I was like, I was able to like emotionally connect with my baby and love my baby a little bit more because I just got it off my chest. Like, that's just it. It works. Like, it really works. Before, I was just like, why talk about it? Talking about it is not gonna help. It's not gonna change the situation. What are you gonna do? But it works. Just letting it off, letting off the steam really works. So if you're out there and you feel like you're going through something like this, try to find somebody to talk about it with, somebody who you feel like, okay, they're gonna see eye to eye with me. Even if they don't see eye to eye with you, just talk about it and just let off the steam, and you'll feel a little bit better. You probably won't feel 100% better because you probably need to seek professional help or just pray to your superior being, but you will feel a bit better. I'm still a work in process. I'm still trying to figure it all out. Motherhood is ghetto. It's like really ghetto when you're doing it alone, or when it's just not going the way you want it to go. But we just gotta do it, because those little human beings, they didn't ask for this life. We actually went and we took up stuff, so we have to deal with what we're gonna deal with. But while you're doing that, seek help, talk about stuff, and try to make yourself better, because you have to be better to pour better into your child. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for staying with me throughout the end. A whole half hour. Y'all are the real G from day one. Share this video with someone who you think it might help. Do the regulars, like it, and if you're new, subscribe and all that. You know the words. Thanks again. Bye. Peace. And say happy birthday to me in the comments, because it's my birthday. How old do I look, by the way, guys? I bet y'all could never guess my age. Remember, I look 19. Bye bye guys, peace.